Hey everyone, welcome back to another Market Open live stream. So this is inflation week. It's going to be big. A lot of expectations pricing in a 7.3% inflation rate year over year. I think the month over month is also going to be quite interesting to see what ends up happening. But no matter what happens, markets are expecting higher inflation for longer. So I don't know it'll be interesting to see how much of a catalyst CPI ends up really being because the expectations are already so high. But anyway, yeah, 7.3 is the year over year expectation. That's up from 7% last month. And the month over month, the hope is that Omicron has depressed the month over month a little bit so that it comes in at 0.4% rather than the 0.5% that we had last month. This pricing in is leading some, for example, some strategists this morning had some Bloomberg coverage at JP Morgan suggesting that that's it. Time to buy stocks. Everything's been priced in. And this is something that's been talked about a lot. I think one of the neat things that you can do is looking at the Fed futures, the Fed rate monitors, and we can see that every week we continue to get more and more pricing in of higher rate hikes. What probably doesn't get priced in, and this is hopefully the direction things don't actually go, is that the rate hikes don't actually do anything to bring inflation down. That I think is a lot harder to price in, and of course nobody hopes that that's the direction that we go in. So we also, as of Friday afternoon, had a lot of talk about potentially this Peloton partnership or acquisition, and so we've gotten a lot of moves on Peloton, either potentially Nike or Amazon potentially acquiring the company, or maybe even Apple acquiring the company. One of the things that I think is so incredible about Peloton, that I've always loved about Peloton, is really that they bought Precor, in my opinion, for a really good deal. They got a great deal on Precor. Stock right now is up about 29% in pre-market here, which I think still puts it at about $30 or something. So it's still well in the toilet relative to its previous pricing. But anyway, they've gotten so darn cheap, and within them they bought this company called Precor for $400 million or something like that, $440 million or whatever. They're worth like $8 billion right now, plus 30%. Yeah, it's at about 31.78 right now. But anyway, Precor is basically your strength training machine manufacturer for almost all these strength training machines that you see at either hotels or at gyms, and their high quality machines are great. I really think the hidden secret for Peloton isn't the bike or the treadmill. It's getting into strength training and really getting their platform out to every single machine. So if we can see something like that, end up going over to Apple or whatever, Amazon, I think there's some incredible potentials. I would imagine that for Amazon, it'd end up having something that becomes a little, how should you say? Amazon, I feel like, would take it into a more low-cost direction and then try to get a fitness subscription going, maybe, or include that with Prime. Apple would probably go more in that higher-end direction. So it'd be kind of interesting to see where they end up going with that. And then Nike, I don't know. But anyway, so we'll see what happens there. There's also talk about Frontier acquiring Spirit Airlines. Now, this is an interesting one because they're acquiring them for a... here it is, 19% premium. The stock right now is only up about 12%, but they're acquiring them for about a 19% premium off of the closing price Friday. The deal essentially values Spirit shares at about $25.83. And right now it's selling for about $24.38. So still about $1.50 off of the valuation that we would expect to see. But anyway, Spirit, let's take a look here how they're doing. They are, I believe they're up somewhere around 12, like I said, 12% right now. Apparently I can't find them. Save. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, this is obviously when news broke here. You could see that. And so you could see the enthusiasm has leveled off, but that's okay. That's usually how it works. Talk about Nissan no longer wanting to produce gas vehicles. I imagine there's a timestamp for that. We haven't seen that quite yet. And I think a big interesting thing here is Bloomberg put together a piece about the scenarios for potential tightening cycles, and their arguments are such that if we price in 5 rate hikes now with a taper this year as well, then you're likely to see the market stabilize if inflation comes down. The downside risk they mentioned is that we get this tightening by the Fed, and then inflation doesn't come down quickly enough, which unfortunately this monetary policy can have an 18-month lag. So, you tighten with the Fed, it takes 18 months for it actually to take effect, which is really, to the end of 2023. And if inflation itself does not come down, which, I mean, it should, because otherwise inflation would have to keep rising, right? But if it doesn't come down itself, then the Fed could potentially get even more aggressive, and that would mean more tightening, which also has a delayed effect. And the worst case scenario would be this merger of inflation and consumer activity coming down at the same time as the Fed is crimping down. So that is sort of the worst case longer term scenario over the next year or so. And then even Bloomberg mentions that would have potential recessionary impacts. So hopefully that does not happen. Let's take a look at what we got here. So here's Peloton. Talked about the Peloton. Phunware also announced a strategic partnership. I don't know much about why, but that's one of the reasons we're seeing Spirit, Peloton, and Phunware up. We talked about Peloton, Spirit, and Phunware's partnership. And then, of course, crypto has done quite well over the weekend. Bitcoin sitting now at 42,800. Ethereum's almost at 3,100. Which, remember, if you ever want to trade crypto, check out FTX via the links in the description down below. And this is, of course, leading the crypto miners to move today. So that's pretty typical. The crypto miners moving these can sometimes be a nice little leveraged, or sometimes even a delayed and leveraged way to trade crypto. So Riot Blockchain, Hive, Hut 8, Marathon, doesn't matter, any of these. So this is where you're seeing some green today. I do find it interesting that Snowflake is up about 5.7% today, because they were also up quite a bit on Friday. And if we kind of look at the day chart here, they've come down substantially from some of their higher prices. And one of the neat things is that Snowflake to me is almost like a little bit of a bellwether for risk appetite. And so it's not a surprise that as BTC is moving up, you're also seeing Snowflake move up, because the valuation of Snowflake is quite wild. Anyway, okay, so let's see here. So Snowflake, Arcimoto, these guys moving up a little bit here in pre-market, nice 4 or 5%. There's AMC up 2.51. EXP and Lemonade, these guys moving about 2% here with Shift. And if we scroll down to the bottom, let's see what we got over here. Alibaba is actually the one getting hit the hardest, down about 4.5%. That's interesting to me. There's been so much talk about how the Chinese economy is getting so much more accommodation from both the fiscal side and the monetary side, and their stock prices are insanely low. And so you're getting stimulus and low stock prices in China, whereas in America, you have still relatively elevated stock prices and a lagging fiscal support, and that'll expire, and tightening coming from the Fed. So it's really an interesting environment and quite a difference. So seeing Alibaba move down here 4.5 is a little surprising. I'll see if there's some news with Alibaba really quick. Let's go find out. And then maybe I can learn a little bit more too about what's going on with Fun Baba. But you wonder how Fun's impacting DWAC. All right, what do we got here? So Alibaba. Who remembers Full House? Welcome to the Alibaba Hotel and Casino. Let's see here. Alibaba. Oh, interesting. Okay, so it looks like there's some form of share registration potentially implying that SoftBank is getting ready to sell a bunch of its stock, potentially as much as 1 billion shares. And that somehow this might signal an exit of SoftBank from their investment. Now remember, SoftBank is a massive fund. It's not really a bank. It's called SoftBank. But anyway, Yeah, it looks like Citibank is saying that this filing is a signal that SoftBank is about to bail. That's quite interesting. Okay, so that could explain the larger movement there on Alibaba. Sorry, Charlie Munger. And let's look at Funware. Okay, so Funware has now announced a strategic partnership with Campaign Nucleus. Yeah, I have no idea who that is. But yeah, we know that Fun was an advertising related play around campaigns. And so some form of partnership with Campaign Nucleus apparently rewarded. Okay, let me go take a peek and see what else the suits are saying. All right, let's see here. So Saudi oil price rise shows biggest seller sees hot market persisting. Yeah, let's take a look at oil really quick. Oil and the futures for stocks had a really interesting move. Earlier, stock futures were down. Like last night, they were down somewhere around 0.5%, and oil futures were also down, which was really weird because you often have been doing the opposite to each other. And now, obviously, futures are up for stocks, and oil is pretty much flat. Brent sitting at 93 and WTI sitting about 92. Kind of interesting. Okay, so let's see what else we have. Okay. Bloomberg talking about the 10-year treasury, life beyond 2-year yields. Yikes. Okay, all right. Let's go look together. Let's see what we got. Okay, so futures rotating up just a little bit here. In fact, let's quickly just grab those. Yeah, you can see here about 1/10 to 1/4%. And I think it'll be important to see some stability going into inflation and the inflation print on Thursday. Let's see, 8 is Tuesday, 9 is Wednesday, 10 is Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. It's interesting. Usually they do Friday. But anyway, so yeah, I think if we get this kind of stability of the stock market into inflation, that'll be very needed, especially after this crazy January that we've had. But let's see, Frontier. We talked about Frontier. Tesla subpoenaed by SEC about complying with Musk's settlement. Oh, interesting. So remember back when there was a settlement from Elon tweeting, we'll take Tesla private at 420 or whatever, and that led the stock to move. The SEC wanted Elon Musk's Twitter account to essentially be monitored, and they wanted a promise that Tesla would monitor any tweet by Elon. And I wouldn't be surprised if the SEC is like, yeah, we want to see what your controls are, because it kind of seems like it's only Elon Musk tweeting, especially since last week he was calling Joe Biden a wet sock puppet. Yeah, that's quite interesting. Okay. Let's also take a look quickly here at what we got this week for earnings. That's going to be fun. That's going to be another big tell, earnings this week, but we'll look at this in just a second here. Let me quickly grab earnings. Interestingly, earnings, we don't have that many weeks left of earnings. So we've almost gotten through the madness. All the companies so far have been really saying the same thing. It's just a matter now of what's Q1 going to actually look like. Q4 was great for a lot of companies across the board. Can we keep that strength going into Q1? Well, that is the question. All right, let's see here. So earnings, we have Tyson Food this morning. That would be interesting for supply chains. I'm going to write these down. So we got Tyson, especially since they've been raising meat prices like crazy. Hasbro, there's another potential supply chain one. Those reported this morning. An Energizer. Apparently they did really well. Okay, then aftermarket today, we have Chegg, Take-Two, Amgen, Simon Property Group. So we'll cover those today. So that'll be fun. And then on Tuesday, we have Pfizer, BP, Harley. These are all on Tuesday. That's cool. Peloton, after hours tomorrow. Corsair, Chipotle, Lyft, Trivago. Ooh. Apps. That'll be fun. Wednesday, CVS, Canopy Growth. After hours, we've got Disney, Uber, Sonos, Twilio, Zynga. Ooh, it's going to be an entertaining week. And then Thursday, which is CPI data day, Twitter, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Affirm, Zillow, Cloudflare, Upwork. Ooh, it's going to be a fun week. All right, cool. So Tesla. So yeah, this is the subpoena we were talking about. And they're seeking information about Tesla. That's funny. That's literally what it was. Yeah. Seeking information about Tesla's governance process and compliance with a settlement reach. Yeah, so that's basically that. They want to see what the heck he's up to, and if anybody's actually monitoring. Which, honestly, I mean, based on some of the latest tweets, I highly doubt. I do wonder if there was a catalyst as to why. Didn't elaborate on what prompted the filing. All right, never mind then. That's funny. Yeah, because sometimes they'll be like, you'll see a reference like, oh, somebody did this. And maybe it was like, oh, well, because he said this, we want to now check. You know. Facebook threatening to leave Europe over not potentially being able to export data from Europe to America, which obviously they're a data-dependent business. That would be quite interesting. I don't know how popular Facebook and Instagram are in Europe, but I can't imagine leaving an entire continent is very beneficial. It's certainly not going to help your business out in America, and certainly brings your business to zero over there. That's quite odd. All right, let's see what else we got. I'd say mostly stability here and a lot of green actually, specifically amongst the companies with news like Peloton and Spirit. Spirit's starting to price in more, trying to get to that 25.80-ish level, which is about where the value should be. Peloton coming up 6.6% after dropping. We're on Friday. A lot of the crypto companies, but really once we scroll past crypto and Alibaba on the losing side, most stocks seem to be really sitting here around the plus or minus 1% range. Affirm, Roblox, Palantir, Upwork, these guys all sitting around 1%. Let's take a look at Tesla here. Yeah, Tesla about 0.5%. And so we'll see. I think a big thing for Tesla is really breaking out of some of these pain trends that we've had here. And if we can really stay above the 880, that's quite critical. But these are nasty downward trends, and there's room for the pain to end here. Absolutely. Same thing with Matterport. My goodness, look at how the volume on Matterport has exploded. But it sometimes makes sense as price goes down, volume goes up because the shares are cheaper. But still, I mean that's a lot. I mean you're double, triple the value here, or double, triple the volume here. So okay, let's see. What else we have to cover today? I can't wait to go red halfway through the day. Lately, the last 3 or 4 weeks, a lot of what we've seen, it has actually been volatility the first 3 hours of the day, where if we're going to go red, sometimes we end up going red the first 3 hours of the day, but then ending up green towards the end of the day, which is good. We want that feeling of again stability. Really, that feeling's probably not going to go away until there's some kind of real catalyst to the downside, whether that's hawkish comments again from JPOW on March 16th, which probably won't start really getting. I don't think the market will really start getting nervous about JPOW until a week before. It usually doesn't. And then, of course, what happens with inflation. Oh, yeah. And then there was also talk about Ford potentially cutting some of their production because of chip shortages. So really reiterating again, just continued pain with these supply chains. At this point, it feels like old news though. I mean, we hear this over and over again. All right, let's see what the Brits are saying. Good morning, Toronto. Macron flies to Moscow for talks with Putin to ease tension over Ukraine. Oh, wow. French president handing over. Let's see here. So we talked about, Frontier. We didn't talk about Spotify not canceling Joe Rogan, but that's what they said. They would not cancel Joe Rogan. The cancel culture is also kind of crazy. But anyway. There's not, I mean, beyond a lot of the things that we've covered, there's not too terribly much news. Let's see. Crypto platforms fear SEC's new rule on exchanges. Oh, let's take a look at this. I believe this is the know your customer rules, but let's get logged in here and we'll find out. Okie dokie. So let's take a look at the Financial Times. Maybe not. Yeah, all right. Give me a second. Here, you know what? We'll hop on over here for a second, and we'll just listen in while I try to get logged in, because apparently logging in is hard.
Talk about this morning, Morgan Stanley on Snowflake, one of Taiwan Semi, got a street high at Bank of America. We'll get to all of that and the opening bell.
Oh, that's why Snowflake's moving. Okay, as we saw earlier in the live stream, we saw Snowflake moving, and I'm like, that's usually a sign of some risk-on appetite to see Snowflake move with the valuation that it has. And if they got an upgrade, then that makes sense why you might see some of this. I really think upgrades are kind of funny, upgrades and downgrades. It's almost like when stocks are falling, everything gets downgraded. And when stocks are, start going up again, everything starts getting upgraded. And it's like, well, what is the point then of your stupid price targets and your nonsense upgrades and downgrades? It seems like they're more reactive than anything. Whatever. All right, we got about 7 minutes to go before the market open. And let's take a peek over here. Cryptocurrency platforms fear they are about to face tighter regulatory scrutiny after the SEC proposed new rules that could bring more digital asset exchanges under its purview. The amended rules seek to fill a regulatory gap by making platforms sitting outside the SEC's supervision comply with existing standards intended to protect investors. The new 654-page guidance, backed by the SEC in a vote last month, does not explicitly refer to digital asset exchanges, but crypto sector and legal experts believe the industry could fall under an expanded SEC definition of an exchange, which officials have said is aimed at capturing platforms trading securities that fall outside the agency's scope. So basically, without mentioning, there's a concern of this larger regulatory regime applying to crypto exchanges. But I also don't know why that would be so terrible. I guess it's probably a continued lack of clarity. Yeah, that would be my guess. See, one of the things that sucks right now is we have so many different agencies that could potentially regulate crypto, and nobody really knows like who's the leader in this regulatory space. What do you do with DeFi? What about miners, right? I think honestly a lot of it has to do with the fact that our government's quite clueless. Let's see. Trade Group, whose membership includes FTX. Hey, that's our sponsor for today's video, which of course use the links down below to sign up for FTX. Wrote in a public comment that amendments could expand the SEC oversight of the crypto exchanges and decentralized networks in a way not publicly mentioned or discussed by the. All right, this is a bunch of lack of clarity, which honestly has been the definition of regulation for crypto. Has just been confusion, lack of clarity. So, oh well. At some point that'll get fixed. Fed and ECB still. Oh well, here this is probably your biggest bear when it comes to inflation. This guy right here. Oh, look at him. They got a little transparency for him. This guy, Mohammed, he is always like complaining. Like him talking about the Fed being behind on inflation is like, I don't know, calling the Pope Catholic. It's just like it's so obvious at this point. But let's see what his rationale here is of any particular complaint. All right, hawkish pivot. We did see that pivot over at the ECB, which it's funny, I made this video this weekend, and I'm like, Jerome Powell's pivot after politically meeting with Biden was just such a shocker. And it's like, really? Like, you're going to pivot your whole position like 7 days or whatever after getting confronted by Joe Biden? Seems like there's some political influence there, which of course that led some people in the comments to say, oh, well, you pivoted too. And then I'm kind of like, you realize I pivoted because Jerome pivoted, right? So it's kind of disingenuous to make that comparison since I'm reacting to the Fed because, well, history tells us that, the Fed is what moves markets. But anyway, yeah, I mean, we saw this pivot over at the ECB as well, which we weren't expecting. When Jerome Powell pivoted, the ECB and Christine Lagarde, who used to be the head of the International Monetary Fund, is now the head of the European Central Bank. She's like, hey, yeah, we might have to flip too. It's been kind of interesting. But anyway, this Mohammed guy, he's constantly railing on inflation. And I don't know that there's anything he's really saying here that we haven't heard of before or talked about before. So I certainly haven't seen any kind of new data or something. Although I did just give that a quick little skim. Let's see here. This is good. Bond market signals room for Fed to raise rates without stalling economy. And this is critical, right? The last thing you want is to stall the economy. I think the economy is actually doing very well. Kathy Wood had a little bit more of a bearish outlook, which if you haven't watched my Kathy Wood video yet, I'd encourage watching it because there's some things that Kathy said that in my opinion, really stand in the face to what facts actually are, which that, of course, led to, people like, oh, Kathy's older than you, so she must know more. It's like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, let's use logical fallacies to debate fact, right? But then again, you can't expect much more from the comment section because this is what people apparently do for their lives, is complain in the comment section of Twitter and YouTube without logic or reason, but whatever. U.S. government bond market is signaling the Federal Reserve will be able to tame inflation in the coming years without stopping. This could be because of the break-even rates, because they have been relatively stable. But let's see what they're saying. Treasury yield jumped last week after a much stronger than expected jobs report. Investors bet strength in the labor market would give the Fed further impetus to tighten. This is true. Despite these upbeat figures, which pointed to rising wage pressures, expectations for future inflation barely budged. This is true. So expectations for future, there we go, longer-term break-even rates. Exactly. So, and this is actually one of the concerns that I have is the break-even rates are not pricing in the fact that the Fed could potentially misstep and make a mistake. And that's a sign that when I hear so many people, especially on YouTube, they're like, oh, it's already priced in. It's already priced in. What's not priced in is inflation getting worse while the Fed is hiking. That is not priced in at all. The market is pricing in a soft landing. The market is pricing in that everything's going to be fine, that essentially inflation is going to come down as supply chains repair themselves. Inflation will come down over the next year or two, and any kind of actions by the Fed, even though they have a substantial lag, will end up not overly tightening the economy. Fine, but if there's any kind of misstep in that soft landing, that has not been priced in, and I think that's very useful to consider. So anytime you hear, oh, it's been priced in, no, perfection has been priced in. Anyway. Hopefully that ends up being the case. So S&P up about 0.14 here at the open. That's interesting. I thought it was up much more. We got about 15 seconds to go here. Yeah. Okay. So it really just seems like low vol. But let's go ahead and listen to the bell.
The opening bell here at the CNBC Real-Time Exchange. And the big board, it is Anheuser-Busch. Looking ahead to this weekend's Super Bowl on NBC, of course, this Sunday at the NASDAQ. Synaptics, a developer of human interface hardware and software, celebrating its 20th listing anniversary. Speaking of SoftBank, Uber will be a name to watch.
Oh, quite green.
This week, as we're going to get earnings later in the week. And
okay, that's like 70% green. That's nice. Andrew, no, I don't want detailed arguments in 2,200 characters or less. I think what's moronic is when people are like, oh, somebody knows more than you because of their age. Well, that doesn't mean that they've done any kind of study to what's potentially happening. Age does not mean anything. I think age is the most ridiculous argument that people can make, especially if somebody's like, person A said one thing, person B countered what person A said with facts, arguments, and reason. And then person C comes in and says, oh, well, person A must be right because they're older. It's like, wait, what kind of response is that to the facts and data? You don't need more than 200 characters to go, hey, this is why I think you're wrong. Take a look at this piece of evidence. Come on, man. That's like 80 characters. All right. So it does look like the indices, at least here at the open, are dragging down a little bit. This is not uncommon because we generally face what we've been talking about as convictionless rallies. So we see a firm was up about 1% here in the pre-market, heading down a little bit here. This is so common. It's the weekend's over. We're going into inflation week. You're going to see, in my opinion, a lot of profit taking before the inflation print, because again, the market is pricing in perfection. And if we don't get perfection, then I would expect that we'll see some pain. But then again, the first minute or two tend to be the most red. So we'll see if we can end up staying or going green here. Really, I would expect probably the first 3 hours of the day to be a little nonsensical again. And who knows, maybe we'll close into the green again at the end of the day. Oh, look at that. There comes a little pop back on a firm. A little buying pressure here. There we go. Peloton coming in to rise a little bit here. And Spirit the same. There we go. Now we're getting that green come back. Good. Let's see here. SPY. Yeah. I mean, it's technically up 0.1% here. So got to ignore the minute candlesticks there for a moment. There we go. QQQ coming back up a little bit. So first little sell orders got out of the way, and now looks like pushing green a bit here. Tesla up about 0.5%. Matterport coming up about 1%. Anything really taking off and flying here? Oh, well, Dutch Bros again, of course. Dutch Bros is such an interesting one. Dutch Bros really had never really sold off as much as a lot of other companies. It's really quite well held on. Dwack coming in here. So is Dwack. Has been incredible. But Dwack also having a nice little pop here at the open. Let's look at it. Here's Coinbase and AMC. Here we go. Lemonade, a couple percent on Lemonade. SoFi, a couple percent as well. SoFi is such a bargain, $12.16. And Redfin, $28. This is crazy. Etsy, $135. Yeah, looking at the downside, Alibaba is still slipping to the lower side here. So you're seeing that continued pressure here on Alibaba, really moving from about that 116 now to just under 115. That's quite incredible. What did it go? It went down to like 108, right? Yeah. It went down to 108. And now on this news that SoftBank potentially might be dumping their shares, we're definitely seeing that pressure come into Alibaba. But we're not seeing that really spread to a lot of other things. I mean, Lucid down 0.5%, big deal. Microsoft, Apple, PayPal, these folks nominally moving. Dwack, of course, still moving. Spirit finally moving a little bit more. It again should really probably get to 25.80. But then there's always a little bit of risk that, well, what if the deal doesn't go through, right? Things aren't perfect with merger pricing. Cloudflare, a little bit of a pop here. Boy, oh boy, Cloudflare has been through one heck of a roller coaster. Excuse me. Whew. Cloudflare, they fell to like, what, $80 or something like that. I mean, it got so darn cheap. And nice little recovery coming back here. Especially, I think one of the things that's bringing a lot of attention to cybersecurity has been the Beijing Olympics. And I think one of the reasons that you're seeing it is because you're seeing this renewed talk about surveillance and using a VPN and spying by China and all this kind of crazy stuff over in China. And I think that's leading to this renewed look at, oh my gosh, well, maybe we should look into some cybersecurity companies. And then you do that. And I mean, then you look at the stock price and it's like, oh, wow, that seems a lot cheaper than what it used to sell for, That's quite wild. So quite wild. All right. So, okay, Piton actually dropping a little bit here. Look at this. It was up 28 to 30%. Now sitting at about 24 here. So a little bit of a rotation to the downside. It looks like Dwack continues to move here. Dwack up about 8.8% right now. So really a good little rally coming out of the open here. Yeah, then we've got Fun pushing up 18, 19% here. And then, of course, we've got the crypto-related companies bobbing a little bit. BTC is not moving much right now, so it's not a surprise to not see these move much. But if you are making bets that BTC is going to make some moves, one of the nice thing about the miners is you can get options on them a lot more easily than you can get options on crypto. Coinbase 3. Look at this. Affirm all of a sudden popping. Yeah, look at Affirm run. You're up about 4%, 4.3% on Affirm right now. So nice moves here, 3% on Etsy. You could be seeing some enthusiasm as well when you get like more and more people like the JPM analyst we talked about earlier, like, oh, don't worry, it's all priced in, time to buy stocks. It's like, okay, play your violin, but that can definitely lead to some of these bounces. Sometimes they create opportunities for folks to sell, but that was mostly, it seemed like, December and January, the convictionless rallies. I mean, some prices are still pretty incredibly low. Tesla bobbing around 0.6. It also would not be a bad thing for the market to go back to a little bit more of a calm environment. So, like, for example, we go back to seeing like daily swings of 0.5% on Tesla, which is, nearly $1 trillion company. That is much more normal and healthy for the market than seeing these insane, 10% days to the downside and then upside and then 7% to the down, 7% to the upside. It's quite wild. And I think those are usually signatures of bear markets when you have this insane repricing of fear and then greed and fear and greed. Very, very typical in bear markets. Not so common in more euphoric times. We tend to have much more straight up. Anyway, Upstart, which is a big trading stock as well, moving nicely here. Upstart, Cloudflare. Look at that. Cloudflare just keeps on moving right here. This is very, very nice. So Cloudflare has been moving, for the last, 10 minutes here, 8 minutes. So is Upstart. Spirit Airlines finally, again, pushing back up to that level here. Even Piton recovering back up. Here comes SoFi, 3%. Good. Is anything really falling to the downside? Let's see here. Not much. I mean, we talked about Alibaba. Spotify on 2.75, Snapchat 1.3, Snap sitting at, what are we sitting at with Snapchat? $38. That's not bad. I think that puts it to like Monday of last week's pricing, which is kind of wild because of what we went through last week. But if I go to the day chart here, oh no, we're above. So we're back at 38.44. That puts us somewhere over here at about a January 13th pricing. So that's about, a good little 3 weeks that got recovered there. That's quite good. So definitely some enthusiasm here. Yeah. Mostly green. Very, very green. I'd say much of the market is green today. The indices should be rising then. No, SPY's not really moving here. It's really getting stuck at that 450 level, which is not uncommon because we do have that retracement, the 50% retracement here, creating a little bit of a lid for it. We did run up to the 61.8 line, but quickly came back down. Let's try QQQ, and I want to see also what Google's up to here. Okay, so QQQ doing the best. So tech is really coming back a little bit more today. So I think that might be why you're not seeing the SPY move as much today. But this is a very nice trend that you're seeing here on QQQ, NASDAQ. Oh, look at that. Tesla now 1.5%. Very nice. And if we go to, where's Google? Because remember, Google's got that stock split coming up. Yeah, Google's at 28.71. A lot of that euphoria has kind of gone away from that stock split, which you saw right here. And so you've got this consolidating period here. But yeah, well, keeping an eye on Google, I think, is very valuable. It's a phenomenal company. I think no matter what happens, the big companies like Google, Apple, Tesla, these companies, again, no matter what happens in the market, recession or not, these are going to be the killers. These are going to be the absolutely incredible movers and shakers. So it's very exciting. Okay, Redfin, 4%. Look at a good day here. See, look at that. Affirm, 6%. And Spot, yeah. No, not much pain. Okay, let me see what the suits are saying. Let's go take a peek. All right, M live. Okay, let's see. Sovereign debts. Oh, let's see here. Consumer goods companies keep showing they can boost how much they can charge customers who don't seem stretched to pay up. That's easing margin worries and lifting share prices for some of the biggest US companies. This makes sense. If companies say they have pricing power, that's good. That means margins can go up. Not so good for inflation. One of the top S&P 500 gainers ahead of the bell was Tyson Food, which is raising prices as it grapples with the tight labor market and smaller livestock herds. Beef prices jumped 32% in the quarter, with chicken up 20% and pork up 13%. Recent data showed that American cattle shrank more than expected, and consumers are expected to face more sticker shock. Amazon hiked prices. Kimberly-Clark raised prices, right? We saw that in ours. Yeah, wow. Okay, so that's why Tyson's doing well. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Let's take a look at their stock. Yeah, it's quite interesting to watch these companies raise prices so much and brag about how much they can raise prices, because it really does signal quite the inflationary concerns. So they reported, and as a result of their reporting, they're up about 9%. My goodness. They have just been killing it, by the way. I mean, look at this stock movement here. They have seen virtually no pain in the last 2-3 months where there has been pain elsewhere. And they are just zooming to record highs now. You know, we did a deep dive on Tyson. Oh gosh, I don't know, maybe 3-4 months ago. And it was really incredible just about how much they brag about how they could raise their prices. And apparently they're still doing it. And the stock is really rewarding that right now. Look at these moves, though. Look at this. Cloudflare now up 8%. You got a Firm up 7%. Nice moves here. Even Redfin, Roblox, these guys 4-5% today. SoFi 3.6%. Lemonade, Shift Technologies. Still not seeing that small cap revolution, though. The small cap's really lagging behind. And I think that's sort of reiterating that somewhat of risk-off sentiment. Tesla's even up to about 2% right now, 941. Look at that chart for today. That's really nice. And of course, okay, good. Let me see a little bit more what the suits are saying. Good moves. So, all right, let's see here. And then let's also get a quick little look at BTC. And then we'll see what else is being talked about. Ooh, look at BTC here on FTX. Let me give it a little refresh there. Sitting at 43.81 right now. Look at that move. You know, it's funny how BTC really likes to get volume spikes and move right around the bell. Look at this. Here's the bell, 6:30. We had the first few minutes of tentativeness. Then you started seeing tech start moving, right? We started seeing positivity, like Affirm was flat. Affirm was pre-market up 2%, went flat at the bell. You saw that tentativeness around the bell. And then you started seeing Affirm go, we're going to the moon. You see it go up like 6-7%. You see Tesla go up 2%. You see Snowflake up 5%. And so you see really some of this risk on in larger companies, I'd say mid caps and large caps. Small caps still being left behind, but that leading now to more enthusiasm here at BTC, going from about 43 to about 43.3, so up about $300-400 here. Nice move, obviously on the 1 minute candles here, but really nice moves. So we'll keep an eye on this. Yeah, the Tyson here, absolutely. Look at this Cloudflare. I mean, we've been watching them all morning here, and we saw them up about 4%. Now they're up about 9.5%. Really incredible. Okay, let's see here. What else? Results aushang. Okay, so we talked about margins. Ooh, BFA. Ooh, this is interesting. What is this? Bank of America's consumer clients made $335 billion of total payments in January, up 17% from a year earlier. Oh my gosh. Second highest month of spending on record. This is insane. The amount of money people are spending right now is just insane. It's like it should be. You would think this should be very good for the stock market, but the economy is crushing it. This is why when people are like, "Oh, the economy's not doing well," I'm like, "What are you smoking? Like the economy's doing really, really well." You know, there are longer term concerns about the Fed and inflation, and that's potentially a conversation for a different cycle, right? But in terms of the economy right now, like the snapshot of the economy right now is phenomenal. You know, it's like Kathy Wood this weekend saying that, consumers are doing terribly right now. Consumer spending just isn't doing as well, and even Facebook's complaining about how weak the consumers are. And I remember saying in my video, I'm like, Kathy, what are you smoking? Like, the consumers are doing great, and Facebook did not complain about where was it? I have the document. Yeah, Facebook did not complain about a weak consumer at all. Facebook complained about supply chain issues and labor disruptions, not about a weak consumer at all. This is the document that I showed there. Oops, I don't know why it's doing that. There we go. Darn it, a little HDMI cable, but that was just mind blowing to me. It's like we're not having a weak economy right now. It's very good right now. Consumer spending on credit and debit cards increased 16% from a year earlier. Oh my gosh! I mean, this spending is insane. It doesn't stop. A sign that consumers' willingness to book future travel plans are up. Bank of America consumer clients continue their strong payment trends into January, following the record levels of 2021. That's going to lead to more price hikes. These trends and everybody is booking everything out. I mean, you try to travel right now, hotels are getting booked out like crazy, travel's getting booked out like crazy. Everybody's blowing all their money. It's quite wild. Bank of America consumer strong payment trends into January, and checking and savings deposits were up 15% from a year earlier. These trends bode well for the economy as we move further into 2022. Yep. Spending on credit cards grew 28% from a year earlier. Air travel grew 160% from a year earlier. Among consumers with an average deposit balance of less than $2,000 before the pandemic, balances were up about 1% in January from the previous month, 5 times their pre-COVID levels. Wow, 1% per month. Credit and debit card spending in the higher income tax brackets was up 23% from a year ago. And payment activity by cash and checks was down about 7% as clients continue to transition to digital. That's a good thing. Wow, that's a really bullish what's it called? Stat here. Biden retools economic to-do list as inflation overshadows. Okay, well, I am tired of hearing that Joe Biden is retooling his plans. Do something. It just feels like there's just a lot of talk. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Credit costs soar as investors brace for end of ultra cheap cash. Yeah, I believe that. I wouldn't be surprised if we see interest rates start bumping a lot on things. Driving demand up. Ooh, let's take a look. Jet demand down. Really? Whose jet demand is down? Because travel's been crazy. Oil prices for the trend ahead, or the week ahead. High frequency data for global oil inventory suggests that the stockpile deficit against seasonal averages has widened to a near post-pandemic record. Stockpile deficit has widened. Okay, so lack of. Okay, interesting. But where did they say this jet demand thing? That's quite interesting. I always like looking at this. I don't see it. Nah, never mind. I don't know if they mean private or public, but whatever. Okay. What else do we have here? We have shift towards EVs, an opportunity for Taiwanese firms. I think it's an opportunity for everyone when you think about it. Meta renews its warning to the EU. All right. We talked about that earlier. I still don't know why they named it Meta. I guess because maybe people don't like Facebook. Later today, by the way, I'll be doing an interview with Peter Schiff. That should be really interesting. I haven't talked to him in a very long time. We kind of already know what his stance on things is, but it's been a while. Okay. Let's go take a look at markets. Okay, so Cloudflare chillaxing a little bit here. I mean, it's had this insane run out of the gate, so who cares if it has a little brief moment here. What do we got here? The SPY has been pretty much flat. And let's see here. People are spending their mortgage forbearance money. Mine ends in July. I have a bunch of money to spend. Yeah, I really do believe that people have a lot of money right now to spend. And this is actually leading to quite a strong consumer and strong economy. Again, why I was so shocked that Kathy Wood is like, oh, the consumer's weak right now. The economy's falling. Like, I don't see that anywhere. And again, like, I just think that a firm with hundreds of millions of dollars for for their company and fees should have quite accurate research, but some of the stuff was just blatantly wrong. Anyway, a firm is freaking killing it right now as it leads into earnings. Look at this. I mean, a firm up 8.22% right now. Took a brief little breather here, but only to continue the rally right now. So really nice move here. I mean, even Palantir, look at that, 4% today. Nice little rally here. Lemonade coming up. Yeah, that one usually gets left behind. It's at $30 right now. Trade Desk coming back. Good. Coming back to life here, finally. Let's see. Tesla was up 2% we last checked. Yeah, it's up 2.18 right now. Same thing. Brief little pause here and a little bit of a push coming again. And I think it's a QQ. Oh, oops. The QQQ is really what's driving. So tech stocks is really driving the narrative today. Yeah, look at that. Same little look here. The rally, the pause, the push. Oh, that's good. A little test. But the small caps, what's up with these? Look at this. Corsair stuck in the mud. Moving about 1% here. Shift Technology moving about 2% here. The short squeeze that just never comes in the small caps. It's really a flight to the perception of safety in mid caps that we're seeing. Cloudflare, Affirm, these guys mid caps. Look at Tyson now up 10%. Wild. Dutch Bros, of course, just continues to rocket. All right, let's see. Here's BTC on FTX. Also, again, really wanting to bounce a lot off of that 43.4 level. This is the second time now we're bouncing off of 43.4. Let's get into Bloomberg. Okay. By the way, we're going to also do some trading. I think probably starting either at the close today or more likely tomorrow morning. And so we're going to do some earnings plays this week with some fun options, whether we're going to do straddles or whatever, which if you want to learn about those, we'll talk more about them in the Course Member Live. There's a V-Day coupon down below for Valentine's Day, so you're welcome to check that out. Okay, so we talked about JPM. We talked about Frontier. Talked about Biden. Talked about a lot of this. Cuomo feels vindicated. Okay, that's an interesting one. Talked about Tesla. That's a funny title. Adults back in charge of stock market as Fed awakens big money. Tesla scaves. Okay, more EVs coming to Japan. Good. All right. Again, talked about Frontier. Talked about Peloton. I think we've probably covered. Let's go to Enphase. Okay. Or Financial Times. I saw somebody else write about Enphase. Go to Financial Times here. No, nothing new here. Okay. How about Wall Street Journal? So quick little check. Oh, and then what we should also do is I do want to take a quick peek at oil. Oh, how is the Dow slightly red? Yeah, look at the NASDAQ pushing 1% here. That's really good. I do want to zoom out on the QQQ here for a moment because tech is really killing it today. Today's a good rally day for tech. Let's see here. Let's zoom out to the day chart. Yeah, I mean, here's your tech. I mean, you're still under the 200-day moving average on the QQQ, which is really quite remarkable. This is historically an incredible time to buy, unless of course you have fears of some kind of larger cyclical shift. I mean, sitting under the 200-day moving average on the QQ is unbelievable. Anyway, Tesla right here about 2.26 right now. Even Amazon's up a couple percent. And then, of course, we got the runners like Cloudflare, Affirm, Upstart, Toast, Etsy about 4.5, Trade Desk. Phenomenal company, especially if we get that advertising push this year. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, let's go to oil. Brent actually down a little bit. Both oils down slightly here. You've got WTI down to about 91 and then 92.6. Oil falls on positive signals from U.S. Iran talks. Oh, well, that's good. Okay, and yeah, BTC kind of stuck in the same spot here. Trying to break. Oh, no, there we go. Just got a little update there on the 1 minute candle. And sitting at 43,438 right now. Let's see if we can fully break above that. So we'll be watching that. I think that'll be bullish. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of bouncing here. Okay, good. Anything else? Oh, Palantir hit 5% just now, by the way. Ooh, DWAC. DWAC hits, look at that chart for today. Oh my gosh. DWAC hits 11% today. Tyson Food breaking 10.6. Oh my gosh. Cloudflare's almost up to that 10% level. It's a big move on the day. Affirm here, 8%. There's Palantir. Well, where's it? Somewhere here. Anyway, Palantir had a rough week last week, I believe. Let me look at their day chart here. Yeah. Palantir right now is sitting at about 1360, fell to about 1175, and we are getting those higher lows. That's a nice trend here to see, sort of potentially. It's you never necessarily want to say bottom because we've been trying to find bottom since December, and things have kind of continued to hit new lows, but we really haven't since about that third week here of January. Things have been somewhat flat on the pain side. Yeah, if anything, slowly starting to rise off of these lower levels, which is good. Rivian 63. Look at that. Went down to $50. Wild. Okay, downside. Baba, biggest one, but it's kind of stabilizing here. Netflix dropping 1.3%. Really no negativity. No negativity today. There we go. There's the word. Very, very good start to an inflation read week. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we get any kind of like crazy volatile day before. Best case scenario, we just have stable days going into inflation, and I think that'll lead to the best resilience going into inflation. Last thing we want are these things that we saw last week, where you had these insane like 10% swings to one direction or the other. It was quite wild. Ooh, All right, time to go make some more coffee. Let's see. ARK almost 4%. Is that true? Let's see. ARK, yeah, 3.5 here. Yeah, probably was almost up 4, and then SoFi's here about 3. Not bad. Okay, I'm gonna look one more time at what the suits are saying. Let's see what the suits are saying. Real returns matter for the first time in decades. Lol. Yeah, that's no, nothing here. Okay, so that's been stable. Nothing's really changed. Some commentary here. Peloton, Ottawa protests out of control. Wafers. What's this? Global Wafers. Oh, okay. This is just a merger and acquisition. I thought maybe they were going to tell us something else. U.S. and Japan set to announce pact to end Trump-era steel tariffs. Oh, that's good. Usually some moves on removing tariffs, getting to a little bit more of a free market, I think is a wonderful thing. All right, so somebody's talking. Oh yeah, Sheeb's moving. You're right. Look at this. Here's Sheeb on FTX, sitting about 3,000 right now. Really up nicely from about that 2,100 we had earlier. Look at these moves here. Sheeb is really getting some enthusiasm right now. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit. Let's go to the 1 hour candlestick. Yeah. Ooh, look at those moves. My goodness, we were 2,000 not that long ago. Nice rally here about yesterday actually. Yesterday, really nice rally that took us from about 2,300 to about 2,800. Now looks like we're getting another little push here, breaking above the previous rejection here. Not bad. Not bad. Wow. Good job, Sheeb. All right. One more look here. Piton chillaxing a little bit. Yeah, people just don't love Peloton. It's just hard. Tesla's going funny. Yeah, some nonsense. Okay, so Affirm is still pushing those green candlesticks, still hitting highs here, even just a minute ago on the day here. So it's been trending up nicely. Of course, as soon as you say that, it ends up turning red. But even Matterport here. Yeah, and you're not really seeing an additional set of pain. It's not like you're seeing a bunch of stocks start running over into the red range. So it's a good day. Yeah, Google's just not doing anything. It's, Google's one of those that's just almost impossible to move, though. Like Wall Street Bets was trying to move it, and they were really only able to move it in the pre-market. And I'm like, don't buy in the pre-market. And the thing ran to like 3,060 or something crazy. And now it's under 2,900 again. Under 2,900 again. There we go. Say that clearly, Kevin. Okay, what do we got here? Tesla. Okay, a little bit of softening here, but you get this throughout the day. I mean, this is just normal fluctuation crap. At this point, it just seems like today's really signing up for a good solid day in the market with some decent rallying coming from some of the stocks we've been watching all year here, especially Cloudflare. I mean, back to 114 from the 80 or whatever it was. Let me look. Wow, it went all the way as low as 76. Look at these rally moments, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6 trading sessions. The thing's up like what? I mean, had you perfectly bought it at $76, which is rare that somebody can build a large position there. That's 50%. That's quite wild. Those are some wild swings. And what's nice is we're really starting to see more. Look how much more green we're seeing here compared to what we were seeing when we saw these little fake kind of dead cat bounces over here. Dead cat, dead cat, dead cat, dead cat. Here we're getting a little bit more reiteration. Tried going red there for a moment, getting that reaffirmation that maybe the bottom was in, which is good. And about 6% on Baba. Doesn't necessarily change the longer term macro issues that we face, but short term, that's great. Good. Okay, QQQ, 0.5%. And SPY, I think I want to say was basically flat. Yeah, SPY's flat. But up a little bit better now. 0.2% was about 0.1. Tesla kind of falling again a little bit here. Some of that morning enthusiasm waning. Is anybody else doing that? No, Boeing's doing well. Yeah, AMD's chillaxing a little bit. Yeah, same kind of pattern over here in NVIDIA. Yeah, it's probably just intraday nonsense. Interesting market to trade. It's really good to know, though, for trading purposes, that like you very frequently get this enthusiasm and then it wanes at a certain point. And then hopefully, at least what we've been seeing in the last couple of months, you get a little bit of a push into the close again. So keep an eye on this. Yeah, something's turning a little bit red on just minute candles here, but no big deal. Conceal, don't feel. All right, folks. Check out the links to FTX down below. And if you want to see all of my alerts for whether I'm buying or selling, you want to do the opposite of what I'm doing, that's fine too. Check out the links down below for the programs of Building Your Wealth, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks again. Bye.